Hello, hello, my hey, I got something to say. People, Dr. Corinne Auman is in the house. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. So, right before she came on, I found out that she lives down in North Carolina, and you know how much I love North Carolina. So, before we get the party started, tell us your favorite thing about living there. What do you love the most?
I love that we have four seasons, right? Like we have all the seasons. In fact, we have some extra seasons like fall, spring, where you think it's spring and it's beautiful and it's gorgeous, and then 2 days later it's winter again. We've been doing a lot of that here recently, back and forth, back and forth. But yeah, I really love the weather and that we have four distinct seasons and you get to experience them all multiple times. Right now, we're having pollen season where everything is just coated in yellow from all the pollen in the air.
Okay, so fun fact, whoever doesn't know, I live in the suburbs of Philly. So it's kind of the same, but a little
Mhm.
colder. The
Yeah,
same thing. I've never heard of that name, so I'm writing these things down. It's the same thing. It's 70. No, it's 30. Wait a minute.
yep,
I think it's 80. Wait, it went down to 29. Don't plant flowers yet. They'll die.
yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
goodness.
We had uh 30 degrees last night and it'll be 85 on Friday. So yeah.
Yeah, same thing. We had like 35. Tomorrow will be 70. So it's similar. And I've been down there during pollen season. People are like, wear a mask because I had to speak, and they're like, you don't make sure you. And I did. I was like, yeah, I'm wearing a mask, man.
Yeah, because it'll get you.
It did. And I was like, nah, how can it bad? But it was bad. All right. Now, doctor, I asked your power statement. And you said your best chapter hasn't been written yet. Stop letting an outdated story tell you what's possible. Now, this touches my heart in so many ways, but I need to know of all the things you could have picked, why'd you pick that one?
Well, I think my soapbox, if you will, is about how we need to tell a new story about aging. And I think so many people have believed the stereotypes that we've all been surrounded by and grown up with that, aging or getting older is nothing but inevitable decline. And a lot of people really let that shape what they think their older adult years are going to be like, what they think is possible for them during that time. And the truth of the matter is, you can do whatever you want if you are thinking about it in a positive way, planning for it, preparing for it, and looking for those opportunities. But the way you are framing it in your own mind is writing your story. And you've got to stop and think about what do I want this chapter of my life to be, and then start writing that story for yourself.
So, I talk a lot about you train your brain, man. You train your brain, and the stories you keep repeating in your head,
Hmm.
that's how you live. That being said, when I send this out to my people, they said, is Dr. Corinne a ringer? Meaning I brought you in because I wanted to drill this down. I've I've never felt weird about my age. Like I owned health clubs and most of the people were like a third my age. And they used to
Hmm.
say, don't tell your age. And I just say, well, why? And then I realized it's because when I say it, it doesn't have the same connotation that they're having inside their head.
Right, right. You have an idea of what you think, let's say, a 70-year-old is going to be like.
Yeah.
And then you probably have met a lot of 70-year-olds and you didn't know they were 70 because they didn't tell you and they aren't matching the stereotype you have in your head about what that age is like. And because we have this sort of, oh, don't tell your age, don't tell anybody. And it's like, no, we should all tell our age. We should be proud of our age.
Yeah.
And if we actually talked about it more, you'd have a much more accurate conception of what different ages look like. But instead, we're just like, oh no, don't talk about that.
Okay. So we got a million questions,
Cool.
mostly about that specific topic.
I would just like to go on record saying I'm not a ringer. We've never met before today, right?
We
Like
haven't.
you didn't bring me in like on a fee saying come in and say what I want you to say. This is not a setup.
No, it's not. And the fact that I was trying to think, my hey people, please write me in. I don't think we had anybody on this subject. All right, but before we get into the million of questions, I should tell you a little bit about Dr. Corinne. Dr. Corinne Auman is by the way, I don't think I've ever heard of this or met somebody. A gerontologist, did I see that right?
Hmm.
Dr. Corinne Auman is a gerontologist with over 20 years of experience working with older adults, their families, and the systems that serve them. She is the award-winning author. It's in her background, if you're watching, of Keenagers, telling a new story about aging, a book that challenges outdated stereotypes and invites people in their 50s, 60s, and 70s and beyond to embrace bold, purposeful living. A sought-after speaker, Dr. Auman holds a Ph.D. in developmental psychology and is on a mission to change the way the world thinks and talks about growing older. All right. So I want to know how you would deal with this. And I just taught a class called Joy Joel with a Purpose, which is a dance fitness class where we give 50% to a charity.
I love that.
And before booking the event, one of my close friends said, don't go in person to book the event. I go, why? Well, he's going to judge you because your age and say, oh, do you have enough energy to teach this class? Okay, so I want
Wow.
to know. I was going to tell you what I did, but I want to know what you would have done and how you would have responded to that.
Hmm. What
And
I would have,
she meant well. I know what she was saying. Yeah.
yeah, she meant well. And so how would I have responded to her telling me I shouldn't go
And
in
what would you have
person?
done? Yeah.
I probably would have. I mean, I understand what you're saying. Like, thank you for the advice, but also I'm gonna go in and talk in person. I think
Yeah.
again, I think it's only if you're going in and you are excited about teaching this class and that energy shows through in who you are and how you present yourself, as I think it does even just seeing you through the camera here, that if you showed up and said, "Hey, I'm going to teach this class," there's a certain energy to that. And
Yeah.
he's not going to look at you, I don't think, and automatically be like, I don't think she can do it, right? Just based on because they don't know how old you are, right? They
Right.
know the kind of I'll say vibe you're putting
Yeah.
off, right?
Yeah.
And that energy level, that how you present yourself in the world, has a lot to do with how people perceive you
Yeah.
and what they think you are or aren't capable of. And, we would hope at the very least he'd let you try it. And then if it didn't go well, then he can make a judgment. But, I certainly wouldn't hide from showing up in person like
Yeah.
that. At least not me personally.
No. And I didn't. But I have to tell you, we were sitting there and with another friend and we were booking the place. And in a nice way, sat down and he said, I just have to ask you, will they even break a sweat? And my girlfriend goes, uh, she's got a lot of energy. Like,
Uh-huh.
yes, they're going to break a sweat. And he said, and he felt bad. He was like, oh, no, no, no. I just had to ask it. And then he said, I hope you don't think it's because of your age. And so he caught himself. So you would have thought, she would have thought it was because of my age. He didn't mean that at all.
Mm-hmm.
So see how he goes, no,
Mm-hmm.
I meant because like my girlfriend, she doesn't want to break a sweat when she works out, especially if she's out at a nightclub. So
Ah,
see what,
mm-hmm.
and right away we jump to,
It's age.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I do think though, I have to overcome that at times. Like
Mm-hmm.
I got booked for a speaking engagement and it was a really great speaking engagement. And the woman said to me, it's a good thing that I booked you for that speaking engagement because if Sally would have booked you, and I guess Sally was 40, she would have booked you. She would have booked somebody much younger. And I thought, why are you telling me that now after I'm booked?
Mm-hmm.
And I felt really crappy about that.
Mm-hmm.
That
But
was
that has
the,
nothing. But that actually has nothing to do with you. That has to do with the 40-year-old who was making those judgments. You know, that 40-year-old has ageist beliefs, right? Like she has
Yeah.
ageist ideas guiding her decision making. And that has absolutely nothing to do with you. You are, in that case, a victim of her ageist beliefs, which is actually why I think it is so important that we spread this message. We get people to pause and think about, like, I'd love to talk to her and go, and not in a judgy way. Like, none of us can help this. We have all been raised in this anti-aging, getting old is bad cultural soup. We are all biased in one way or another, right? Me too.
Yeah.
It happens all the time. I catch myself going, what did I just say? Or why do I think that? But I would love to talk to her and say, what is it? Like, stop and question, what is it that made you think that she wouldn't be great to book? Right? Where is that coming from? What are you worried about? And I bet once she actually thought it through, she'd go, well, until I meet her, I probably don't actually know. Right? Like
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Yeah.
it's that sort of, and that's actually what makes ageism so dangerous, is that it is this sort of automatic processing that we all have where we are making these little decisions based on these beliefs that have nothing to do with the individual that's in front of us. It has to do with these stereotypes that we've all grown up with that guide our thinking, whether we realize it or not.
Yeah. So it was funny because after that, I was on a Zoom with a whole bunch of speakers and event planners. And the event planner said, who do you think I want to book? If he can speak well, I want a 95-year-old with wisdom up there. Like she was like, who? I want wisdom. If they're talented, I want to hear what they have to say. Why wouldn't we book that? So let's stop there because, oh my God, we got so many questions about this. So many women. We'll start with Sally Bell's question because she said a lot. The other women said, "Dear Dr. Corinne, I'm totally with you. I get it. But I feel like every day it's an uphill battle. That everything I'm told and everything I see on social media is to be ashamed of my age. I am now 69, and I have to tell you, I feel better than ever. Please help."
So the thing that Sally said there, I'm 69 and I feel better than ever. That, I mean, is a theme. Like in my work with older adults and with, talk interviewing teenagers, people for my book, that is the thing that people, and I think it surprises us all a little bit, right? As we get older, so many people feel like they are really just hitting their stride, right? In terms of what they know and what they know about themselves and where they're at in their career and just all these things. And that idea is so antithetical to the stereotypes, right? That, oh, because like our stereotype is that as you get older, you should be sad, right? But it's normal to be depressed as you get older because, you're getting old. When in fact, we actually see that older adults are some of the happiest people of any age group. But to get back to her point about social media and what's out there, yeah, it's really hard. I mean, I am fighting an uphill battle here, and so is she, in the sense that trying to sell a message, tell people about a message that aging can be looked at in a positive way is really, really difficult because the stereotypes are so pervasive. That my book is called Keenagers with a K, and I started using that word because so much of the language around getting older is all negative. I mean, if you
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
Google older adult, almost all of the language is maybe neutral at best, but a lot of it is negative. I couldn't even find a word to talk about aging in a positive way. I had to come up with something else to do it. So, I mean, she's not wrong about what's
Yeah.
out there. And that's why I'm talking about it. I think the biggest thing for me is fighting ageism starts with you, starts internally. It is an inside job in the sense that people have grown up with these stereotypes. It's kind of this automatic thinking, and the first step to fighting it is to have people pause and go, "Oh wait, why do I think that?" Right? Like why do I think 69 is too old to have a job, or too not, or too whatever it is. You're
Yeah.
too old to wear that outfit, or whatever the things are. And once you start doing that, then you start seeing the ageism everywhere. Then you can start questioning it. And like when people say things, you can be like, well, that was kind of ageist, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
start fighting it because right now we are at the very beginning. I do think in the last 2 or 3 years I have seen a lot more in social media in the world about fighting ageism and fighting that stereotype. But yeah, we're really at the beginning of changing this narrative for sure.
Is that because there's a lot of us now?
Yeah, that is part. It's because there's a lot of older people, number one, but it's
Yeah.
also because we are living so much longer. When Social Security was first enacted, the lifespan was like 67. We expected you to live a couple of years past in quote unquote retirement. Now, you're gonna live on average a decade past 65, and then we've got more centenarians, people over 100, and super centenarians, people over 110, than we have ever had. So this older adulthood itself has changed. It is so much longer. We are so much healthier now than
Yeah.
we were in previous generations, but our language and our stereotypes about older adulthood have not changed. I mean, just think about the fact that you turned 65 and we call you an older adult, and you're 95 and we call you an older adult. There is no other time period in life where we would take people who are 30 or more years apart in age and go, you guys are the same. You're all in the same category. It's fine. Just
I
one
never
word will
even
do.
thought about that. You're right. You're right. Okay. So I get it's an inside job. So to me, it's the same thing as how I live my everyday life. I could sit and dwell on all the things that go wrong and all the things that are messed up in the world, and I could find a lot of them.
Hmm.
Or I can dwell on all the things that are great and positive and powerful. So I choose to do that. So
Hmm.
my world is filled with more of that, even though I know that's going on. I'm not blind to it.
Sure.
So you mentioned about the 5 words. I want you to talk about that because I think that's very powerful to audit your aging story.
Well, it's kind of like what I said about Googling the word old or older adult. And, what are the first, kind of do this for yourself internally, right? Take a piece of paper and just write down the first 5 words that come to mind when you think about old or older adult, and see what those words are. And for most people, they're going to be kind of negative, right? They're going to be slow, or, you can come up with all your own words. I don't need to give you any.
Right.
But
They're there.
they're
Yes.
there, right? And just understanding, like for our 69-year-old in the previous question, Sally, I think, you
Yes,
know,
Sally
to
Bell.
to think about, okay, those are the words that come to mind, but those aren't actually about me, right? They're borrowed beliefs. They're these stereotypes that the culture has given you, but they don't actually mean anything for you personally. And so that kind of having that realization, I think, is the first step. Being aware that that is a stereotype and it is separate from me is a first step in awareness towards fighting ageism.
So what comes to mind for me, so I want to make sure that I'm understanding this completely, is who said that has to be me? Like I say that all the time, like who said? Who made those rules? Why? Why do I have to be like that? Why do I have to act like that? That's what clicks right into my head when you're saying that.
Hmm. Absolutely. I mean, it's the same thing you may have seen here not too long ago. It was kind of in the news that the actresses in Sex and the City, or the new version of Sex and the City, are the same age as the Golden Girls actresses were when they filmed Golden Girls.
No,
You
no,
didn't see that? So,
no.
so like Sarah Jessica Parker and that crew, when they've been filming the most recent version of Sex
Yeah,
and the
yeah,
City, they are the same age as the Golden Girls were when they filmed the Golden Girls. Now think about the difference in those ideas. You know, the short hair, the outfits, the whole thing
yeah. The
versus
white hair. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. And so again, who said what that age had to look like? And it looks really different today than it did even in the 1980s when Golden Girls was on.
yeah. So true. Now I got to get a picture of them side by side.
Hmm.
Okay, so, and I do think this is important. Wait a minute. How'd you come up with Keenager? Let's go back a second. Where'd the K come from?
So the word was a long struggle to get because I was really trying to find something to talk positively. And a friend of mine called her mom and said, "Mom, what do you guys like to be called?" And her mom told us that they like to be called Keenagers with a K because the definition of keen means highly developed or having a strong interest in things. And I think that's perfect because that's exactly who our older adults are now. You know, they're not content, withdrawing from life or sitting on
Yeah,
a rocking chair on their front porch. They're still active and engaged and want to do things and have adventures. And that's why the word appealed to me. When we found it, I was like, "Oh, that's it." Because
yeah. I mean,
it's
I love it. I
it's
love it.
it's so
Okay,
hard. Yeah.
so who are your teenager role models? You talk about find role models, talk to them,
Yeah.
how their brain works, what makes them vibrant. And I do believe that with everything, you want to hang out with people, that you really look up to and admire. So who are yours?
Yeah, so I think it's really important for all of us to have role models in our lives who are models of how we would like to age, right?
Yeah,
How we want that part of our life to go, that chapter. And so, I mean, I have so many, it's hard to pick because I've met so many at this point.
that's
But
true. That's true.
one of my favorites is a lady named Maxine, and she was 80 and still working at my dental office. She was
Mm,
my dental hygienist and she has been cleaning my teeth since I was 2 years old. And she was working and still active and engaged. And it was one of those things where it's like, Maxine, why are you still here? And she's like, because I get to see you. Because these are all my friends. These are all the people I know. So
yeah,
she's working, but it's not a I'm here and I'm desperate and I got to keep working until I die. It was this is, I see all my friends, I get my socialization. Yeah, I get some money out of it too, but she's doing something she's done and she loves and all these other things. I'm like, oh, I want to be that way.
yeah,
I want to be doing something I love doing at 80 and doing it because I still love doing it, not
yeah.
because, I've got to be there or that kind of thing, but that sort of experience and doing it really joyfully.
Hmm.
That's what I want.
I was thinking, my mother-in-law, who's now 89, she worked for a company, big company, Lilly Pulitzer, and she retired at 80 just so she could spend more time with her husband. And they were begging her not to leave.
Uh-huh.
And when she left, no lie, they were like, we had to hire like 10 people to do,
Mm-hmm.
but she loved it.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, that's what I want. I want to be doing something I love at 80. And I don't, who knows what that will be. Maybe it will still be
Right.
the same job, but whatever it is, I want to be doing something I love.
Which I want you to hear what she said. It doesn't mean it has to be the same thing you're doing now. It might be something totally different.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So why do you think this is so important? Which I try to do at least one thing a week. That scares me and I do it anyhow. Why is it
Hmm.
so important?
Well, I think having goals, having something that you're looking forward to sends your brain a signal and the world that, hey, we're doing stuff here. I'm not done, right? There's something new to learn. There's something new to enjoy. There's what I'm going to be doing today, tomorrow, next week, next month. That sort of, I've got plans, right? Rather than, well, okay, I'm gonna, maybe watch some TV today. It's,
Oh, I
you
got
know,
it. I got it.
and it's so interesting to me to see the way different people choose to move forward in these years, these older adult years, because I definitely know people who are kind of doing that, who are like, well, I watch TV and I go to my doctor's appointments and they don't really do much other than that. And that's a quick way, a much quicker path to decline
Yeah.
than when you've got something that is keeping you purposeful and motivated to get out of bed every morning and get going. I think those forward-looking goals and visions, and they don't have to be big. I mean, I'm not talking about you got to like be planning to run a 5K or write your next book, or you can plan those things, but just, whatever feels good to you that makes you want to get out of bed on a Wednesday morning,
Yeah.
that kind of goal, that kind of
Could
purpose.
be chair yoga,
It could
whatever.
be it could be chair yoga, it could be joy with a jolt,
Yeah.
it could be volunteering somewhere, it can be your grandkids, it can be all kinds of things.
Yeah. Okay. So I have to ask it because I got hit with it hard. I'm sure you hear this. When I look at myself in the mirror, it doesn't reflect how I feel on the inside.
Mm.
So they want to know, how do you feel about all the reconstructive surgery so that their outside matches how they feel inside? Do you have an opinion on that?
Yeah, I think everybody should do whatever makes them feel their best. I don't have the thing I have a problem with is the way some of the stuff is marketed to people or puts pressure on people to spend money that maybe they don't have, to feel like they matter. And I think this is particularly true for women, that as men get more distinguished as they get older, and somehow we women we just get older, right? And so I think there is extra pressure on women to do all the things to stay looking youthful for as long as possible. But I also think what you just said is incredibly true, that people, it's not just about how we look for other people, it's how we look uh, when and how it makes us feel on the
Yeah.
inside.
Yeah.
Now, there is some built-in ageism there because we have all been trained from young adulthood that, oh, wrinkles are bad, and I don't, you don't want to look older, and that's because of our ageist training. But honestly, I think there's so many people who don't want to look done, right? Like they're not looking for the overfilled or the
Yeah. Yeah.
overdone, that sort of thing. They just want to look like themselves,
Yeah.
right? They want to
Yeah.
look the best they can look for their age. I don't have a problem with it. I think everybody should do what makes them feel their best, but I also don't think we should judge anybody for not doing those things either, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
do what you want to do that makes you feel the best.
I like that. I like it. That's a great answer because it really does matter. If, I have some friends and they said, I did it for me, man. And they felt so much better.
Yeah, I
But
agree.
when they start coming up to me, they go, again, it looks like they don't love me, but they love me. They're like, yeah, we wish we were like you, Wes, and that we didn't care what we looked like. Like,
You're like, who said I don't care what I look like?
yeah, I mean, like, who said that? And they meant like, you know what I mean? And then I have other friends that she's constantly getting something done. And that's a different story.
Right. And that's the thing I don't want people to feel like they need to do. Like
Yeah,
that sort of, because it can get develop into this cycle of you get one thing done and then you think you need to fix something else, you need to fix
yeah,
something else. And
yeah,
I don't know exactly where the balance is there, but
yeah,
I understand the internal need to feel like you want to look on the outside the way you feel
Absolutely.
inside.
Absolutely.
And the world does treat people differently. Like if I would love it if we lived in a perfect society where it did not matter what you looked like or what color your hair was. But I mean, there are many people who would tell you the moment they went let their hair go completely gray, the world started ignoring them. It's like it changed how people saw them in that moment. And that's ridiculous, but it also
Mm.
doesn't change the experience of it.
I know some really hot women that are completely,
It's gorgeous. It's
yeah.
absolutely gorgeous. No,
And they,
I
but they rock it. Like they're
yeah,
like, you know what I mean? It's their attitude that's coming through. You know what I
yeah.
mean? It makes me like, you go. All right.
Mhm.
I think we answered the one about the pushback against, the language. So I want to get into the big one about reframing retirement as a transition, not a finish line. And I just had a woman say to me yesterday, well, what do I have to look forward to? Like she's so depressed.
That's it right there. That is why you have to have those goals we were talking about earlier because you need something to look forward to. You need to be making plans or having goals or something you're working towards. I think we've been sold this version of retirement that like you retire and you get your gold watch or you get your plaque or your award and then you go off and it's just unlimited bliss and relaxation. And retirement is some of that. But we as human beings, as a species, do not function well without feeling needed by other people, feeling like we have a reason to get out of bed, feeling like we're working towards something that we matter to other people. And a lot of us have a lot of our identity wrapped up in our career. And so then when we retire and we don't have anything on the books in terms of things we got to do or appointments or things like that, it's a big risk of becoming depressed, and actually having
Mhm.
health decline because of it. I mean, people do not function well like that. So it is very typical for people to retire and have somewhere
Mhm.
between 6 to 18 months where they are really happy. They are retired and they're kind of having a honeymoon period
Mhm.
afterwards. And then after that, they have this transition where they go, I got about 30 more years ahead of me and I got no plans. And
Yeah, yeah,
that doesn't feel nearly as good
yeah.
as you think it's going to feel when you are still working.
I think most of the people that I know that are retired and really aren't working, like they're not working, they didn't find, their second chapter, the ones that I feel exude joy, eh, they're not working as much,
Yeah,
but they're either taking care of their grandkids, they're volunteering,
they have
they've got this,
purpose.
yeah, they get up in the morning and there's one thing they're looking forward to.
Hmm.
And my biggest concern is with the people that I know are extremely active and their whole life is built around physical activity. I see that's the hardest transition for people when
Mm,
they can't do the same things. And they're like, well, then I have no other hobbies.
mm. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, you have to be able to transition the hobbies. I've
Yeah.
definitely seen people who maybe used to run and now they're doing power walking, or they
Yeah.
used to do one thing, now they're swimming. Tennis, they can't do tennis anymore, so now they're swimming. It's going to happen. It's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
None of us are going to escape unscathed. It's all about being able to pivot and reframe how you are looking, what you're doing and how you're looking at your life.
I have to tell you, it was really hard. I definitely am a stubborn mule and I'm a mountain biker. And I had one too many falls on my mountain bike. And my son
Uh-huh.
was like, Mom, we're running out of frozen peas. I think you have to admit that every time you fall, you're getting way more injured at
Hmm.
66 than you were before. So I did have to take a beat. I still bike, but not on the same trails.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was
That's a
hard.
smart decision, Sandy.
Well, I think my son was the one that had the logic behind it.
Hmm.
Okay. And I found other things. You're right. It took me a beat, but I found other things I really love.
Yep.
So let's talk about your mindset ritual, which I love. The thing I do every day is look for magic. Please tell us more. Again, I've never met her before.
No, and I just started this back at the beginning of this year. I think I've always done it a little bit, but one of my things for this year was to be much more intentional about looking for magic. And what I mean by magic is like those little synchronicities, right? When things just work out, or like you're thinking of a friend and then they call you, or whatever it is during the day that is like a little moment of joy. And I try to be very conscious of looking for those things, paying attention, and then I'm trying to write them down every day in my journal slash coloring book that I have. And so I'm carrying this thing around with me everywhere and I'm coloring in it and then that way when things come up, I've got it so I can write down, what it was that happened. But yeah, I really it's making me much more aware on an everyday basis of all these little things that just worked out or went well or that I got to do today that I didn't normally do, whatever it is, and I write it down and now I have this book that has all these like joyful little things in it that I can go back through and read.
Yay! I'm so excited. And you know what? For years, Doctor, I was saying to people that those shifts, like focusing on, I'm going to look for the magic. I'm going to expect amazing. Today's going to be a great day. You're reprogramming your brain to look at it. But I didn't have proof. I mean, years ago, I was saying, now there's science to back it up,
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
you're really
Well, and
rewiring and
that's
train your brain.
so on the science thing and the aging thing, this is very important. Dr. Becca Levy up at the Yale School of Public Health has done a ton of research on a positive outlook on aging and how that impacts your outcomes as you grow older. And just to give you a couple of her findings, people who have a positive outlook about aging tend to live 7.5 years longer than people who have a negative outlook. They have less risk of cardiovascular disease, less risk of dementia. They even walk faster than people who have a negative outlook. So, the power of your mindset in terms of how well this aging journey is going to go is huge. It is going to impact this journey tremendously. And you don't have to believe me. You can go read her book too.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
excellent. It's a lot of sciencey research stuff in it, but it's very good. And it really matters. It's probably the biggest impact on how well you're going to age. And it makes sense because like if I have a positive outlook about my aging journey, well, then I'm going to go to the doctor and get my checkups and take care of myself and exercise because I'm looking forward to getting up and doing things and I'm motivated to take care of myself. If I think it's all downhill and it's inevitable decline and I'm not looking forward to it, well, then what's the point? Why should I go to the doctor, right? Why should I do any of these things? It has tremendous impact.
I don't know it, and I'm going to bastardize it. But you remember that study, really famous study, would they took 80-year-olds and they changed the whole place they lived in to look like it was the 1960s.
Yes. Yeah, I know this. I know the study.
And it was, oh my, and then the other ones got screwed and they stayed in the era that it was in. And how they acted and changed and their whole chemistry changed. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy. Okay. I'm so glad you came on the show. I'm so happy. This is perfect. Especially, I'm going this evening to a networking event with all women that'll be between 50 and 80. So this is going to be awesome. And believe they got it going on. Uh,
Hmm.
is there anything that we didn't get in that you want to get in before we leave?
I don't think so. I think we pretty much covered it all. I mean, the thing I'd want people to go home with is that the first thing they can do is take a look in their own brains, that do that kind of ageism check and go, okay, what do why do I think these things, right? If I'm thinking anything, like if I'm looking in the mirror and going, "Oh, I don't like how this looks." Why? Who told you? Where did that notion come from? Because once you start looking for the messaging, you're going to see it everywhere. I mean, we start teaching people this stuff when they're children. Go look at kids' storybooks and look at how older adults are portrayed in kids' storybooks. I mean, we start early telling you that growing old is scary and bad. So, it's not your fault, but
Yep.
the way to start fighting it is to take a look inside your own brain, and then once you start there, then start going around being like, why do you people think this? This is all wrong.
So, might have a piece of that. If you could tomorrow morning whisper one thing in a woman's ear that she could remember as she woke up, what would you say to her?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot.
Just a little something like every woman out there, don't, no pressure, no pressure. You're whispering this one thing in their ear that they can remember. What would you tell them?
Whatever you think, stop and go, is that true?
Take a beat, people. You heard
Mhm.
it.
And trust me, I have to do this too, right? This is my journey. As much as anybody else's. I'm 50, so I'm a young old. Here we go. But I qualify for the Senior Olympics in my area now. And when I got that notification, and I went, "What do you mean?" And then I thought I had to take a beat. I had to take a beat and go,
Yeah.
well, is this how a teenager would approach
Yeah.
this? And so I have signed up for the Senior Olympics. I'm going to be doing two or three different events, because okay, this is where
Yeah.
we're at. Let's do it. And that, I mean, you're going to have an initial reaction, but then you
Yeah.
have to stop and go, why not? Why not go?
Discounts. Discounts.
I'm ready for it. I haven't seen anywhere that gives them at 50 yet, but I'm ready the moment they do.
But and I it is. I work on this all the time because I'm so, I have so many different age groups in my life, but I'm like, oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm gonna get discount on the movies. I'm gonna
Yeah.
get discount at the shopping center. I could get Social Security. And my friends are always like, oh my God, if I'll be so sad and depressed. I go, listen, you're aging
Right.
whether you like it or not. You might
Yeah,
want to take advantage of the discount.
that's exactly right. It is happening, whether you like it or not. And what is the alternative?
Yeah,
Right? Like, just embrace it. Embrace it. Go get your discounts. Go do the Senior Olympics. Like,
yeah.
go have a good time, because
Yeah,
we all get one shot at this, and let's do it.
that's exactly right. All right, where can they find you? Where can they look you up? Where can they get your book? Tell us everything.
Yeah, so I have a website. It's just my name, which is CorinneAuman.com. And I'm sure you'll have it in the show notes and
Yep.
things, because it's a different name. It's not one that you hear all the time. But yeah, everything's there. So how to connect with me, the book, all those things are on the website.
All right, my head got something to say, people. Come on, ladies around the world. You always tell me what the reason I started this show. Dr. Corinne doesn't even know this. I started this new podcast in 2019 because of women around the world. I was traveling around to different places at the time, and they said it was after the age of 35, especially in some other countries, they said they don't feel heard.
Hmm.
And so that's why I said, hey, I got something to say. So, ladies, everybody could benefit from hearing this, even the younger ones, because it will really help them change the perspective and not be depressed about getting old. So, Dr. Corinne and I would really appreciate you sharing, liking, rating it, and subscribe. And until next time, you know what I'm going to say. Toodles. Thanks, Dr. Corinne.
Thank you.